Good morning, Lansing. I am Melanie Youngsma, publisher of the Lansing Journal, and I'm here this morning with Josh Bootsma, our managing editor.
Good morning, Lansing.
We're here for another weekly roundup.
That's right.
I would say, Josh, that this was sort of a normal week in Lansing, and that means that there was a lot going on.
That's right.
So what would you like to highlight this week?
One highlight from this week for sure was, if you live in Lansing, your new police chief is Al Phillips, who has been with the department for 23 years, most recently serving as a detective lieutenant. He was handling major crimes like homicides in that role, and now he's excited to move on to the role of chief.
And you got to talk to him that night, right?
I did. I got to talk to him on Tuesday night when he was appointed, just a short conversation, which you can read some quotes from that in our story below. He really wants to connect more with the community. He mentioned like a chat with the chief kind of program that he'd like to start. He also wants more transparency, and he mentioned unity as well. There's community and community policing and those kinds of things. So it's exciting.
Yeah, it's exciting for us too. We work hard to try and get information from the police, and it's not always easy. And we're hoping that having a good relationship with Chief Phillips will allow us to have better access to the information that the community would like to know.
Right. Another thing you may have not noticed in your emails this week are the daily COVID numbers. Melanie, tell us about that.
Yeah, this might be a big deal only to me, but
Sure.
it is a big deal to me. Every day for the past 15 months or so, I have been publishing daily COVID data. This is information that I gathered from several different sources, and it wasn't a difficult thing to gather it, but it was something I had to remember to do every day. So I had an alert on my calendar at 9 o'clock every night to go into these different websites, gather the numbers, and post them. The Illinois Department of Public Health announced on Monday that they are moving to weekly press releases instead of daily press releases. They are still updating their website daily, so the information is there, but they're stopping the daily press releases, so I figured that's a good time for us to stop the daily press releases as well. The information is still accessible from our website too. We have links in our sidebar to IDPH's website, and there's a local South Suburban Mayors and Managers Association dashboard that has data from all of the surrounding zip codes, 60438, as well as South Holland and Cal City, any of the suburbs that you want to see. And that's been a helpful resource for us. And so the information is there. We're just not going to publish a daily news release about that.
Yeah, I feel like that's a good sign that it doesn't have to be news every day. I think that is a promising sign.
You're right.
But
It's another little milestone.
There you go. The data is still available if you would like to access it, so you can do that. In other COVID-related news, and another effect that we're seeing just in some recent months has been on Lansing car dealerships. So that story is linked below. Due to a shortage in materials, especially microchips, new cars are kind of in short supply right now, because as the cars get more and more electronic oriented, that means that they need more and more microchips. So when you turn on your blinker, that's a microchip that senses that you're moving your blinker down, and so the light is supposed to flash. When you turn on your radio, when you use your power windows, those all use microchips to function. And due to COVID shutdowns with manufacturers overseas, demand for other consumer electronics, where the microchips went for laptops and tablets instead of going to cars, a whole slew of different causes has resulted in a shortage of inventory. So Phillips Chevrolet, for example, which is on Torrance Avenue, normally has 500 new cars in their inventory.
It's a big lot.
It is a big lot. And now they have roughly 50 cars in their inventory. So that's 10% of what they normally have. And Napleton River Oaks, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, and Napleton River Oaks Honda also are experiencing certainly a shortage in new car inventory. Now, so that doesn't mean that you can't buy a new car. What it means is you'll probably just have to start buying online. So you'll just have to do more of an ordering and tell them what you want. And then the nice thing is when it comes off the assembly line, it'll kind of be coming off the assembly line just for you. So.
And you found out about that because you were at a village board meeting, and Mike Maharis from Phillips was at that board meeting too, on sort of a different matter, and he just mentioned this shortage, and Josh followed up on it to get that story.
Yeah.
Nice work.
Thanks. It was very interesting. You know, it's always interesting to see something at the national level kind of brought into the local sphere. So you
True.
can check out that story below.
So, one other big story that I can think of that happened this week was Governor Pritzker announcing Juneteenth as a state holiday.
Right.
And I did see some local chatter on social media about Juneteenth and people wondering what it is and why we need to celebrate it. So you did some research about that, didn't you, Josh?
Yes. So Juneteenth refers to June 19, 1865. So in 1863, the Emancipation Proclamation was signed, and that said that slaves were free in the United States. Now, some Confederate states did not abide by the Emancipation Proclamation. Texas was one of the last holdouts. In June 19, 1865, a Union general marched into Galveston Bay, Texas, and declared that the roughly 250,000 slaves in Texas at the time were officially free. So this is kind of the last holdout of slavery being officially saying slaves are free here. Now, of course, we know, if you know your American history, you know that that wasn't just snap your fingers and that's it. Everything is good now. There's a lot more complexity to it than that. But this is a significant date. So, yeah, the state of Illinois now said it will be an official holiday now.
So it's different from the Emancipation Proclamation, which happened
Right.
in 1863.
Right.
It's sort of the culmination of the Emancipation Proclamation.
Right. Like it actually being realized everywhere, the Emancipation Proclamation. So, you know, to put that in perspective a little bit, I was reading about a man named Sylvester McGee who has a very interesting story. As far as we know, he was the last living slave, and he passed away in 1971.
Wow.
Just 50 years ago.
Wow.
Some of you watching this video are more than 50 years old. And it puts it in perspective. This is an ancient history that we're talking about.
Within my lifetime, there was still a living slave.
Yeah.
That's short. That's short history.
That's right.
So I think it's good that we're acknowledging our past and
Right.
recognizing more of our history. And so I think this is an important milestone for Illinois, for the country. And you reached out to some local leaders too, right?
I did, yes. So I heard from Bob Wright, who is a commissioner on the Human Relations Commission. He was very much in support of the state's decision to formally acknowledge Juneteenth and make it a holiday. I also spoke to Michelle Ford of the Lansing Community Coalition, and she was also very much in support of the move to make Juneteenth a state holiday and the significance that it has for so many people in Illinois and around the nation.
So this year Juneteenth is on Saturday, and Saturday is probably when most of you will be watching this video.
Yeah.
There are local celebrations or recognitions of the holiday happening. The most local one that I know about is at Sandridge Nature Center in South Holland, just to the north of us.
Yeah.
And they always do a nice job of presenting information and making it interactive.
Yeah, I believe Tony Preckwinkle is going to be speaking at that event, and so if you're interested, it's not too far from Lansing, for sure.
It's within biking distance.
Yeah, for sure, within biking distance, for sure. Check that out on Saturday if you're interested.
Great, I think that's everything for this week's roundup.
Yeah.
Have a good weekend and enjoy your Juneteenth, and we will see you back here next week.
Yeah. Have a good weekend, Lansing.